Welcome back. We will now be interviewing the candidates running for district attorney. In addition to their primary duty of prosecuting criminal suspects from arrest through trials, the DA's office is also responsible for much more beyond that. This includes dealing with cases after the trials are in the appeals process. They handle things like enforcing child support, diversion programs, investigations, juvenile restorative justice, and victim witness services. Before the show, we determined by coin toss the order in which our guests will appear on the show. That being said, I have the honor of introducing our first guest, Judge Keva Landrum. Judge Keva Landrum is a proud native of New Orleans. Judge Landrum graduated from Ursuline Academy and continues to receive her bachelor's degree in political science from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. Judge Landrum came back to New Orleans to earn her Juris Doctorate from Tulane Law School in 1997. She then began her legal career in the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office and ultimately rose to become the first district attorney, the acting district attorney in 2007. And she made history as the first female district attorney for the state of Louisiana. Then in January 2018, she was appointed chief judge at Orleans Parish Criminal District Court and again made history as the first African American woman to serve in the court's highest office. Judge Landrum, thank you for joining us today on the John Redmann Power of Attorney Show.
Thank you, John, so much for having me today.
Well, it's our pleasure. Well, we don't have a lot of time, but we do have a bunch of questions, so how about we get right to it?
Sure.
Okay. First question, in your own words, what does it mean to you to run for this position, and what is the impact that you hope to have in this seat?
Well, you know, this is so important to me. We are at a critical time, not just in our nation, but in our city, where citizens throughout our country are calling for our district attorney's offices to act with fairness and integrity and transparency and accountability to the communities that they serve. And so to me, that means that we need to have someone that is going to rise up to that challenge. And when I think about that, you know, I am ready and prepared to do that work so that we can connect with the citizens of New Orleans.
Next question. What do you see as the most pressing issue facing the position of district attorney in the city of New Orleans today?
You know, it's hard to prioritize what is the most pressing, but because we have so many serious issues that are going to confront the office. I think the first thing is to make sure that we build a relationship of trust between the office and the citizens of New Orleans, but also making sure that we implement the reform that is needed in that office, and making sure that we also prioritize public safety for the citizens of New Orleans. And so it is going to be walking into the office, making sure that we reform the things that need to be reformed. There are some policies and procedures that we have to make sure that we change in order for this office to be effective. There are things that we have to make sure that we prioritize, such as violent crime and crimes against women. And then we're going to have to also combat the stall that has occurred because of this pandemic. And so it means working with our court system and our judges to make sure they understand our vision so that we can get this criminal justice system moving forward.
Thank you. Next question. What do you believe is important for the voters out there to understand that distinguishes you from your opponent in this race, in this runoff race?
You know, I think there are some very clear differences from me and my opponent. The first one is, I think that it is my experience that I bring to this job. I have the unique experience of having served as a prosecutor. And while many people want to discount that experience, what I bring to the table as a former prosecutor is that I have worked with victims and with women who have been abused, with families who've experienced violent crime. And my opponent has spent his entire career as a defense attorney dismantling their stories and their experiences. Also, as our former and acting district attorney, I had the opportunity to step in during a time where that office experienced some of the most critical times where the office was in a really bad time. And I had the opportunity to stand up and help stabilize the office. So I understand what it takes to bring that office forward. As a judge in criminal district court, I also have formed partnerships with all of our criminal justice agencies, making sure that we move the court forward on reform efforts. As the chief judge, I brought forward the very first ever pretrial services program. I also instituted the first ever bail reform, so we ensured that poor people didn't remain in jail simply because they were poor, and making sure that we looked at our jail population so that we could prioritize violent crime and violent offenders. And so that is the type of work that we need to do as our next district attorney, and I have the experience and the skills necessary to do exactly what we need to do in the office.
Thank you for explaining that. Next, what do you think is the single most important thing that the district attorney should determine in order to carry out these initiatives?
So, I think that discretion is the key, right? As the district attorney, the discretion that you use in how you implement policies and procedures in the office. And so it is going to be making sure that you implement and utilize that discretion to make sure that you're fair, that the policies and procedures have integrity, transparency, and that you're held accountable in everything that we do, in how we accept cases, and how we train the attorneys, and how we try cases, and how we communicate with our community and victims and witnesses. So essentially, to me, it is about the discretion as the district attorney and making sure you use that to promote the fairest policies and procedures, and you promote public safety for our citizens.
Thank you. Next question. As a serious leadership role in the community, what is your vision as district attorney for the relationship between the criminal court and the district attorney, and also between the district attorney and the citizens of the city of New Orleans?
Well, I want to start with the citizens first, because I think that that is the most important relationship that the district attorney's office needs to rebuild. And the relationship between the citizens of New Orleans and the district attorney's office has to be one built on trust and openness. And that means not just for our community, but it means for anyone that is accused of crime. That means anyone that has been a victim of crime. We have got to have a relationship where people believe in the work that we do. And so that means treating everyone fairly. That means that if you're a victim of crime, building a relationship where you can voluntarily come forward and feel that you're not being forced to come forward. If you have been accused of a crime, knowing that the work that the police department has been done fairly and honestly, and that the work that we do gives you an opportunity that seeks alternatives to not just being placed in jail. And so that the community understands that everything we're doing is for the benefit of us as a community in total. Now, as it pertains to the criminal district court and the relationship between the office, that is going to be having an open line of communication, that the judges in criminal district court understand that our main priority is going to be prioritizing violent crime and moving those cases through the system. And so we are going to work with the court, have them understand that, and hopefully they can work with us to push that forward.
And let me add as a follow-up question, the relationship between the district attorney's office and the defense bar, those lawyers who are representing people accused of crimes. Can you comment on that, please?
Well, there should always be an open line of communication with the district attorneys and the defense bar. Listen, although the system itself is adversarial, the relationships should not be. Because what it is going to take is making sure that we have open file discovery. So that means that defense attorneys are entitled to the information contained within the prosecution's file. And so we are going to open our files and give them information, all of the information contained within it. Listen, this system is supposed to work where it is fair to both sides. And so defense attorneys should have equal opportunities, should have equal access to be able to defend their clients fairly and, at that same rate. And so although the system is set up as an adversarial system, the relationship between both sides does not have to be. And so we are going to ensure that it is not an adversarial relationship, but a fair one, so that both sides can advocate the same way.
Thank you for explaining that. Next question. As a district attorney, you've mentioned the word discretion. And for those people out there who haven't maybe gone to law school, in the context of a district attorney or a judge, or even as a defense lawyer, the word discretion, how do you explain what that means? In plain English for everyone, please.
So discretion means that the district attorney has options available in how to handle cases, how to charge cases, and how to resolve cases. And so that means that those options stem from how you deal with cases from the very beginning, meaning not everyone has to be prosecuted. It is going to be my platform and what I plan to do, and hopefully we have the resources to really build this out, is we want to expand our diversion program. And so that means for people who are, accused of low-level nonviolent offenses, even if you have a criminal history, we want to be able to dig a little deeper and see what is the root cause of that activity. And if it stems from substance abuse, mental health issues, a lack of opportunity, be it jobs, housing, education, that we start providing you with the support that you need to address those issues and divert you outside of the criminal justice system and give you options so that we can start treating those issues. And hopefully, people do not come back into the criminal justice system. So traditionally in the past, we have just prosecuted people and not connected them with the services and support that they need to divert them outside of the system. And so it is going to be my hope that we try a new approach where we start supporting people so that we can keep them outside of the system. And so it is that type of discretion that as our district attorney, I choose to use so that we can support families and support people.
And we don't have much time here, but to make sure I've understood what you said, the district attorney does have the legal authority to say, you know what, some of these crimes, if we get them maybe some counseling, some assistance, maybe they can get treatments for a drug addiction that will get them out of the criminal prosecution complex. Instead of filling up jails with people who maybe don't need to be in jail, they can get help and maybe start becoming hardworking, tax-paying citizens again.
Well, and that is absolutely it. And then when we do that and we divert our attention and divert those cases outside of the system, then we can focus truly on the public safety measures and those violent crime cases. And that way it helps all of us. It's a win-win for the entire community.
Okay. Now, we invited WGNO's reporter Peyton LaCicero to participate in this, and she provided a question. And her question for you is, if you were to win the district attorney's race, what's the first change or the most significant change you'd want to make to this system if the voters were to elect you to the system? And what would that change be?
So, I don't know what the most important, but there are several changes that I'd make immediately. And those would be, number one, making sure that we did not prosecute simple possession or possession of marijuana cases. The second would be making sure that we did away with the use of the habitual offender law. And finally, making sure that we decided and we treat our children as children and make sure that we treat those cases in juvenile court and that we do not hold them in adult jails. And so those would be policies that went into place immediately. And so none of them is more important than another, so I can't rate them. They all, to me, are extremely important so that we can achieve what we need to achieve by being able to address public safety and being able to prioritize violent crime. So those would go into effect immediately. They all are equally as important to me and to making sure that we can move the office in the direction that we need to go.
Thank you. All right, now we're just about out of time, but we've saved a little bit of time so you can tell the viewers your ballot number and where they can find more information about you and your platform.
Thank you so much, and this was a great opportunity to be able to discuss with everyone. I am Keva Landrum. I am number 102 on the ballot, and more information can be found at www.kevalandrum.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Judge Landrum, thank you for being here. I believe our viewers got a good chance to get to know more about you. After a brief pause, we will be joined by Jason Williams, Councilman Jason Williams, who is also running for the position of District Attorney. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.